So, hey everybody, I am so glad to have you all here. My name is Heather Hyman, and my goal is over the next 45 minutes to 60 minutes that you are going to really get some great things. I like to call them some mistakes that I see a lot of businesses and churches making in their own social media marketing. That it's not going to be a time where I'm just here to tell you things that are wrong and then walk away. My plan is that at each point where I see a lot of mistakes that are being made is that you're going to leave that with some solutions that are going to help you feel that you've got some opportunities of knowing what you can maybe change or implement right away, or definitely going into your 2017 year. So thank you so much for all of you that are here with me live during this broadcast. I would ask everyone to right now find the chat box and go ahead in the chat box. The first thing I want to ask you is tell me where you're coming from in the world, and also tell me what your business is. So maybe include the industry or your role. While you're typing that, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the screen to the kind of the main page of our presentation while you guys are typing that. Okay, so while you guys are finding your chat boxes and getting that all squared away, I am getting our presentation up and going. Okay, great. Leslie found the chat box. This is great. And it's interesting. I'd like to tell you that if it was the exact same for everybody, but I'm not exactly sure. But so far, we're having progress. We've got Shanice here. Hey, Shanice, good to have you. I know that you are here in Columbia, the same town as me, so that's great. We've got Felicia in Houston, Texas. You guys are all, I believe, able to see everybody else's comments. Hey, Allie, good to see you. We've got Canada in the house. So we've got some direct sales. We've got marriage, ministry, marriage coaching, life coaching. And let's see, Felicia, Allie. Allie, go ahead and tell us what it is you do, Allie. I want to make sure that we see. And I've got several people who told me that they were not going to be able to catch us live. They may be coming in a little bit late, but we are going to have a really great time giving you guys some value. So everybody type a yes in the comments if you see up on your screen my presentation that says mistakes businesses and churches are making on social media. Okay, that's off to a good start, right? All right, well, let's go ahead and we're going to dive right in and let's keep going. So everybody, I said already, my name is Heather Hyman, and I have two companies. And I like to say that I am an overnight success that took 16 years in the making. I started back in 2000 taking an $18,000 pay cut, working for a digital marketing company, really having no idea that it was really going to be like the starting place of where I would ultimately be in my career. But I was working on Wilson Sports projects and doing graphics and web design and project management.
And it goes up, and it goes up, and it goes up, and it goes up.
Well, fast forward to my husband joining the military, being a military spouse, traveling, moving to Germany, Tennessee, Kentucky, Texas, all of these places that I got to call home. And I had the pleasure along that journey to go and get a master's degree in management and leadership. And while I was in graduate school, I had the desire. First of all, I loved business, and I'm so glad I had that experience because what it brought up in my mind was I knew I wanted to have an income. I wanted to have a business, but I wasn't exactly sure where I was going to get that started. So my first company I started is right here, ElizabethTownFamily.com. And that is a website all about family-friendly fun in a town near Fort Knox, Kentucky. So I basically built the website, created great content of everything there was to do that's family-friendly in that community. And then I monetized it by advertisers paying me to basically advertise on my website, and I grew the entire business using social media. So that's my very first kind of like business-related social media like win, so to say. Then I ended up working as a relationship manager, same time as I had the Elizabethtown family business, but I was working for the local Chamber of Commerce. And I just had business after business come to me saying that they wanted help with how to use social media. So I just began doing consultations, working one-on-one with those small businesses, but I also started helping the chamber grow their chamber membership using the power of social media. Well, fast forward, my husband's job transferred us to my hometown in South Carolina. So in 2014, I launched Sweet Tea Social Marketing, and I basically took everything that I had learned in my own company and helping those other businesses, and really no longer having a limit of serving a town with a 30-mile radius, could pretty much help businesses no matter where they were located. So that's what I've been doing for the last 2 years. And these things that you see up here on the screen by no means are bragging opportunities, but I really like to just kind of showcase this at the beginning to let you know that I've been on CBS News locally talking about social media. I do chamber work and consultations for Chick-fil-A, for various Chamber of Commerces, and several small business owners and companies throughout the United States. So I can tell you that I feel that I've got some credibility when I share with you ideas and things that are working, things that aren't working, when I talk about mistakes. So that's kind of like the experience I bring to the table. And so I want to just welcome and encourage you throughout any of this. If you see something and you don't want to sit there and write it all down and you just want to take a screenshot, please feel free to take a screenshot of anything that you see. And again, I've got the chat box over here to the right. Let me just kind of test it to make sure I can type. And you can see my comments, so I will do the best I can to multitask. But that's one thing Periscope has taught me, is to be able to keep a train of thought, read comments that people are writing, and keep the flow going. And I totally respect your time, so I will make sure that I don't go beyond our time unless I'm answering your questions that you guys have. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to be talking kind of generically about social media, but the first question I want to ask you is saying, is your audience on Facebook? Okay, without you even typing in the chat box, I know the answer to that. The answer is yes. Your audience is on Facebook. So that is not up for debate, really. But how are you going to use Facebook to really grow your business? Now, let me ask you this question. In the chat box, type on a scale from 1 to 10, how much you personally really enjoy social media, just generically, all social. A 10 is you really like it a lot. You are on social media every single day for some reason. And a 1 is I'm not really sure I get social media. I'm really just kind of doing it because I realize it's important. Okay, so we've got mostly higher numbers of people that personally are engaging and using social media. That's great. Okay, cool. I'm going to have to say I'm a 10 plus myself, Leslie. So we've got some social media fans here for this training. So here are some overall goals as it relates to how social media can help you in your business goals. And I say business, but please mind, if you have a nonprofit or if you're a church, these things absolutely still apply to you. I'm not necessarily saying to be successful, you need to be off the charts on all of these, but this is just kind of some goals that I often and consistently see most of my clients in some measure looking at. We have vanity metrics, which is really just a fancy way of saying like your likes, the number of followers you have. Then we have increased engagement. How many people are retweeting your content if you're on Twitter? How many people are sharing your content or commenting and taking the time and the effort to do comments and shares and retweets? Then we have your growing your website traffic. If you have a website, one of your goals, even if it's not one of your goals right now, it should be to increase your website traffic. And if you don't have Google Analytics on your website, most often, I don't know, depending on how you built or made your website, I know for certain if you have WordPress, but if you don't have a WordPress website and you do have a different kind, check to see if you have Google Analytics on your website. And the reason I mention that to you is because it's free and it can give you amazing data to let you know where people are coming from, what pages they're spending the most amount of time on. And guess what? That is a huge, huge piece of information that you can use to solidify the type of information that you share on social media. Okay, the next thing I've got down here is increasing your email list. Now, right now, today, I don't care if you have 5 people on your email list or if you have 5,000. Obviously, the bigger the number, the better, but you should always be working on wanting to grow your email list as a part of your social media strategy if you do indeed have that email marketing as a part of your digital strategy. Some people want to increase their sales. Some people want to increase their brand awareness. And some people want to increase foot traffic to maybe local events or a local business or a local church. So those are just some of the goals. So here's one mistake I see. I see a lot of people have on their personal Facebook page, they don't have listed their Facebook business page. So go ahead and type a yes if you have a Facebook business page, also known as a Facebook fan page, or type in no if you don't have a Facebook business page. Okay? And while you're typing, I will keep talking, is right here for free for about 2 minutes worth of your time, you can get on your personal Facebook page listed the work that you have at your Facebook business page and have a link there. Now that is a huge mistake that a lot of people don't do. So you only have a private coaching page. Okay, now I do have a question though, Allie. Is it a page or is it a group? Is it a group that you have like closed or secret? And that's something that you can feel free just to put in the chat box. Okay, great. And so I want to just encourage you, make sure, and that's a simple, easy fix, make sure that that is linked to your Facebook business page. Now here's the why. On your personal page, that's your personal page. That's where you're posting about the things that are important to you. You may be posting photos of your kids, that you like to cook, that you're at the mall shopping, that you are overwhelmed that Aunt Sally is coming to visit. Okay, well, never mind. You may not actually post that on social media because Aunt Sally might be reading your Facebook page, but I think you kind of get my point, is that you're going to be meeting new people, whether it's at church, whether it's a neighbor that moves in next door, whether it's through your kids, and you're on your personal page going to be making new connections. And what you want to make sure that you do is you want to make it as easy as possible for anybody that is connecting with you on a personal level. You want to make it as easy as possible for them to be able to go and click over to learn more about what it is you do in your business. So that's a quick fix, but that's a huge mistake that I see a lot of people not doing. Okay, so here's another mistake I see, is knowing your target market. Okay, if I can just be completely transparent with you guys, this is something that I personally struggle deeply with. And that's because I love social media strategy. I love local businesses because I've had a lot of experience working with churches, working with Chamber of Commerces. So I feel that I've got a really good solid grasp on that local marketing strategy for a business. But on the flip side, I've got my Sweet Tea social marketing business, which again, I've grown that from the ground up 100% using social media. And that is how I have clients in Alaska, in Texas, in Virginia, and in Nashville, and in Wyoming. All of that is through social media. They are people that I have never met in person, and it's all from social. So I feel that I've got experience to add value to the person who does have the online business. So that being said, I have kind of had to have a shift in my mindset. And so when I am coming to, social media and giving value, I do feel that I can help the person that has the online business. I probably have a little bit more of a passion for the person that does, or the business that does have a local market that they want to serve. really just because I feel, 70% of my background and experience is in that area. However, my current company is the online business. And of course, I do things on a local level. But here's the thing. If you don't know who you're serving, you're not knowing how your messaging needs to actually be worded, the voicing that is going to resonate the most with that audience. So let me kind of give you a quick example. A church, okay? A church, even my church, other churches, a lot of times, especially if you're sitting there trying to get them to put pen to paper and say, who are they targeting? I mean, they don't want to make it sound like there are certain people that they don't want to ultimately have come into their community, and that they want to maybe ultimately come to either have a growing relationship with Jesus, or that they want to be able to help that person grow if they already are a Christian. But here's the thing. I just recently went in September to to Atlanta. And in Atlanta, I took a huge tour of this church called Buckhead. And Buckhead is a very nice, trendy, rich area of Atlanta. And this church has a target market of reaching young, married people that have either no kids or they're about to have kids. And that doesn't mean that they don't want to help others. That's just the demographics that is in that area, and that's kind of what they have made their messaging. And when they're thinking about activities and they're thinking of events, that is the person who they are ultimately steering their content to, their messaging to, and their practical applications to. Are there other people that go to the church that are outside of that target market? Of course. But that, as it relates to you and your business, it's so important that you know who you serve. So here's something that can possibly help you be able to kind of get that a little clarity. Number one, if you don't necessarily know who it is that you serve, I ask my clients to look at the last 6 months worth of clients that they have served and ask them who those people are. Because here, I'll tell you, once I had a disconnect. I had an interior designer. She was 70 years old, and she was amazing. 30 plus years experience with interior design. She wanted to have a demographic of women that are, married, 30-somethings. That was what she wanted. But when we sat down and we looked at her client database of the last 6 months, or even, honestly, for the last 10 years, her database were women that were 55 to 70 years old. I don't think you need to be a huge fashionista to say that the interior design of a 70-year-old is probably going to be different than that of a 30-year-old. So do you see the disconnect? She was wanting the 30-year-old market, but everybody she was attracting and all of her experience was with that older generation. So it doesn't mean that she couldn't obviously do some strategic planning and some changing in what she talked about to approach and have an interest in that younger generation, but there was a disconnect on who she wanted to serve and who she was serving. And if you know who your target market is, it doesn't necessarily have to be based on an age. It could literally be, if you, let's say, as my example on the screen says, if you have a local specialty gift shop, then you may have a target market of women that enjoy shopping, high-end products, and organization in their home. And you may say, it sometimes is easier to just imagine one person. So in this example, this person's name is Lucy, and Lucy enjoys shopping, high-end products, organization in her home. She enjoys shopping at Barnes & Noble, Crate & Barrel, Williams-Sonoma. And again, I'm kind of generalizing. However, when you start to look at the data of the people that you're attracting, who you want to attract, and you get that in with your messaging, especially when it relates to non-business material, it's going to make a huge, huge difference. Now, another mistake I see people making is them not knowing what to post and where. I'm going to literally walk straight over here and grab my drink because I'm about to lose my voice. But type in the chat box if you ever struggle with knowing what to post and on what social media platforms to post. Okay, so as some of you might still be typing, and Felicia has commented, so that's something that a lot of my clients and a lot of my business owners that I've worked with have struggled with, is knowing what to post and where to post. You know, how do you get the information and value that you have to your audience on social media? Well, here's a big mistake I see. I see a lot of organizations, a lot of businesses try to be too many places. So if you guys wanted to have somebody who has worked with really big clients, that has, I would say, some credibility to tell you, to give you permission to know that you do not need to be on every social platform, this is your day. We'll go ahead and say happy Thanksgiving of the great information. I just want to take that burden off of your back. You don't need to be on every social platform. And unless you've got like a really nice big budget, or you have help, or you have a marketing team, you're honestly going to be hurting yourself. And here's why. If you're trying to do Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Snapchat, and Facebook, and you are either one person, or you know your funds are limited in who can maybe help you, you're going to maybe be doing 5 platforms, but for the most part, you're probably going to be doing them average or mediocre, or just kind of maybe poorly. So my question to you is, stop trying to be everywhere. The number one advice of this entire webinar training would be to tell you to ask yourself who it is you're trying to serve. Write down a list of 10 things about that person or things that they're interested in. Then really maybe take into consideration their age, and then say which social platform, one, do I feel the most comfortable with? Because guess what? You are going to come across far more genuine and authentic if you enjoy the platform yourself. So if you can find a win-win on that here's a platform that I know my audience is on, and this is a platform that I really enjoy, I would say pick that. Make that be your platform. If you want to take on 2, you can. But I would much rather see you do one platform amazingly. People see you. You're consistent. You're doing all the things right, and you look great on one place, rather than trying to do 5, honestly, not so well. Here's another mistake I see. Don't make it all about you. And so I have a rule. Some people call it the 80-20 rule. I kind of go a little more conservatively, and I call it the 85-15 rule. And so when you think of your ideal targeted market and the things that interest them, just as human beings, right? Not about what you do, not about your products, not about your services, just about something that they enjoy doing. And then, of course, your area of expertise. So it's kind of like share 85% of the time what relates to your audience just as a human. Something that's humorous, something that's inspirational, something that's motivational. Just kind of like value, give. And then 15% of the time, you're going to talk about that course that you've got that's maybe on sale. You're going to talk about that opportunity for someone to be able to take advantage of, yes, the Black Friday special that you've got going on. But if you are going to social media and every single post is about you and your business, and it's all about you, let's be honest and let's ask ourselves, do we like going to someone's newsfeed where it's all about them? I mean, you guys know, even on a friend level, the friend that's always complaining, the friend that's always looking at life as the glass half full, the friend that's never giving, the friend that's just like take. Don't be that, especially with a business, because what I can tell you is that the Facebook algorithm is set up to be favorable to the consumer. Okay, they did not design Facebook for you and for me. Now, of course, we know that they way Facebook used to be 7 years ago is very different than it is now. And yes, a lot of times if you're doing a solid Facebook strategy, you can pay as little as $1 a day to get more exposure to your audience. But something I can tell you for free is that when you show up and you post things that make people laugh, that they read it and they think they're inspired or they're motivated, even if it has nothing to do with your business, it's going to oftentimes encourage people to share it, to engage with it. And here's the point. How does that benefit your business, in case you're asking? Well, in the world of Facebook, and nobody has like the algorithm except for, Mark Zuckerberg and all of the computer and programs that make that what it is. But here's kind of what I can tell you, is that when people like and engage and comment with what you post on social media, Facebook makes a note and says, hey, 19 people liked this post, okay? Well, these 19 people seem to be enjoying their content because they commented, they shared, they interacted with it. This one's getting some good engagement. So Facebook basically is like, okay, we're going to kind of start showing more of their stuff because people are starting to engage with them. But guess what? That next post you do may very well be about your offer or about your business or about the upcoming marriage retreat or the enrichment series that you have going on. And that's kind of how taking this principle of not necessarily having it always be about you can truly, from a business perspective, really benefit you on social media. Now, I know I'm kind of going through this, and I want to kind of, before we're almost a little halfway through, go ahead in the chat box and just type in a yes or a no if you're getting some value so far out of this training. You can say yes, you can say no, it's okay. You won't hurt my feelings. And we're going to keep on going. Okay, good. Okay, so another mistake I see is no consistency in the branding. So this does not mean you have to be all matchy-matchy and you literally can't. Let's say you're on Instagram. I'm not saying to you that don't post on Instagram unless your logo is in the bottom right corner of every single graphic and that you only use your branded colors. So, my branded colors for me personally are a blue that's really similar to the Twitter blue, kind of like a navy blue, and a little bit of yellow. I've actually changed the yellow. It's not this yellow that's on the screen anymore, but for the most part, you'll see a lot of those colors in my branding and in images that I create, but not every single one. But if you go to your newsfeed or my newsfeed, take a quick audit on yourself. Look at the last 10 tweets that you did. Look at the last 10 Facebook posts that you did. Look at the last 10 Instagram posts that you did. If you do have some font consistency, if you have some color consistency, then you are on the right track. However, if every font is completely different, there's no rhyme or reason to the colors that you're using when you are posting or, let's say, making graphics, then that means that there may be some opportunity for you to work on your branding a little bit regarding the colors and the styles. And the question I have up here says, does the voice that you use in real life for business match the appearance that you use on social media in your posts and your videos? Now, I didn't write this down, and I actually want to do a stop on a screen share real quick, and I want to give you guys a message that I think is super, super important. Live video right now is huge. I could do a training all day long telling you about how important live video is. And sometimes I think people think that live video or people that are going to be really successful on social media are going to have a certain personality type. But I want to encourage you to embrace who you are. I want to embrace your personality characteristics and you be authentic. There are introverts that are having wild success on social media. There are extroverts that are having wild success on social. So if your branding and your personality type is maybe like a dry humor, kind of like a quick wit, encouraging of others, if that's how you engage and interact with people face to face, There should be a little bit of that in your email marketing too. And there should be a little bit of that in your social media, strategy. So take that into heart to not think that you've got to come and be what someone else says you need to be. And another thing I just want to share with you guys is whether you would do social media marketing like myself, whether you have a church, whether you have a direct sales company, especially if you have a direct sales company, let me just break the bubble if this is something that you believe. You are not the only person on planet Earth that does what you do. Now, I know that you know that, but looking at it from the other angle, I'm going to put you on the spot and say, what are you doing in your business in the way that you conduct your business in person, online, on social media? How are you standing out? How are you being different? If you're quirky, own it. Be quirky. I'm kind of quirky, and that's okay. And someone else may be more straight-laced and not so much into humor, but really just kind of like matter of fact and to the point. And you can be a little bit of all those things. So for you, it's really interesting. I'll say, hey, get your target market. Kind of get an idea, like who are the majority of your customers? And then I feel like I'm almost encouraging you to say, kind of generalize. Okay, I kind of am. But when it comes to you and who you are, especially on social media, because guys, you can't fake social media and your branding and your voice. It's really just not possible. And if you're trying to be somebody you're not, like that's going to get old really fast. So just take your personality on who God made you to be, and that's where you can say, I am the only Alex. I am the only Cynthia that was made with this exact DNA, and I'm going to show up on social a way that feels very natural to me. Doesn't mean that you sometimes don't have to get pushed to maybe go outside of your comfort zone. That's not what I'm saying. But just really take your gifts and your talents and incorporate that into your business, and people will notice. You will start to attract more people that resonate with exactly who you are, how you communicate with people, and use that to your advantage. Now, let me get back to my screen share. Okay, so we talked kind of about that. We're going to continue. Now, forgetting to look at the data, that is a big mistake that I see a lot of people making. So I wanted to share with you, if you are new to the idea of looking at your Facebook data, and you can also do this on Twitter, it's free. You can get data information for Twitter free. You can get this information on Facebook free. But right now, for example, I am showing you a screenshot for Sweet Tea Social Marketing. And once you are on the page for your business, which if you were just here normally as like someone viewing my page, you would be over here on this tab. But since I own the page, I have these other tabs, the message tab, the notifications tab, and then right now in this screenshot, it's clicked on Insights. After you click on Insights, there's a couple things I want you to look at. Let's go ahead and look at the arrows first, and then I'll come back to the whale. So over here, after you click on Insights, I want you to click over here on People. And then after you click on the People, that's going to put this all up based on the post that you have. And most likely, before clicking on anything else, it would just list your posts in the order in which you have posted them, chronological order. But after you click on People, I want you to click on the button that says Reach. What that's going to do is it's going to sort every post you've ever done on your Facebook business page, and it's going to put them in order from most amount of reach to the least amount of reach. Now, if you are not familiar with Facebook ads, this is not a training on Facebook ads, but you'll see two different shades of orange here. So I have used some Facebook ads, and as you can tell, the ones where I have put some money behind it, I have had more of a reach. And then it keeps going down lower. So whether you've got the light orange or the dark orange, it does not matter. But what I want you to do is when this is over, go and look at your top 10 posts that have received the most reach. And then I want you to make a list and say, okay, the thing that has resonated with the current people that follow me are these kinds of posts. So for example, I can tell you that all of my top posts here, what do they all have in common? This type with that figure means they were all video. Well, imagine that. Facebook tells us that they like video. When you do video, that they're going to show your content to more people for free. And imagine that video is what's most popular because I actually do quite a bit of video. So that's telling me video is working for me as a strategy. Another thing I want you to look at is look at this. Look at what it was about. Okay, so my number one thing said 5 steps every church should be doing to maximize social media. The next one, part 2 of Facebook Live 101. Get the whole part. Next one, 6 ways for churches to get increased exposure. The next one, 4 ways to grow your local business. So do you see a pattern? Now I've had some of my clients that some of their very top posts weren't them at all, and it was literally an inspirational graphic that they made that got lots of traction. And in fact, I would tell you, if you maybe aren't spending any money on Facebook ads, it's quite possible that some of your top posts are going to be things that have nothing to do with your business. And I don't want you to think of that as a negative. If you're posting a photo, go look at that and say, okay, this inspirational quote got, number 5 on my all-time list of posts. So do you know what that means you should do? That means you need to create more posts about that similar topic. Maybe even say, hey, this had a picture of a guy running in it. Well, I'm going to use some more graphics with people running and see if, it's all testing. What works for Heather is not going to be a cookie cutter thing that's going to work for Felicia. That's going to work and be the exact same thing because my audience is not going to be the same audience as Alex or someone else. But what I can tell you is it definitely gives you a much better place to start because this is data, guys. The data, the numbers don't lie to us. And then one other thing I want to share with you on this page is this, which I call the whale. And what this does is it shows me, based on my audience, and please don't just check this once and think you're done. You can check it every 6 weeks or so. Mine very consistently looks like this, but you may have a different one. But pretty much for the most part, it looks right here that 5 p.m. kind of peaks might be really equal to over here at 1 o'clock. But for the most part, guys, from 11 a.m., let's even say until, 9 o'clock really. From 11 to 9 is when my audience is most engaged with me on Facebook. So guess when I post? I post throughout the day, sometimes going as early as 9, but typically I'm posting between 11 a.m. and 8 p.m. And that is because that's when people are engaging with my content and I'm delivering information that I feel is going to be in my newsfeed during the time when my audience is engaging with me. Now that is taking the data from the Facebook for free and is helping me better give value to my customers or my clients or my potential customers. So it's really a win-win for everybody. Here's another mistake I see. Let me close this. Scattered and doing too much or too little. So, there's influencer strategies. So depending on the type of business you're in, that's one thing you can focus on. Social listening, email marketing, blogging, interviewing people, signage, for example, if you're a brick and mortar or for events. Not every single thing that you see on this screen is good. Now, one thing I have here listed is really like a shiny object, or it's kind of like a flyby thing that's going to go away. 5 years from now, I really believe every single one of these strategies is going to be relevant. But what I'm telling you is ask yourself, do you have a strategy? Sometimes people are trying to do all of these things and they're doing them poorly, rather than saying, I am going to focus on social listening, which means looking for other people on social media that are talking about conversations that you are interested in. So here's a tip. If you are using Twitter or if you are using Instagram, a social listening strategy would be to go to Instagram or Twitter, and in the top search field, type in the hashtag that's relevant to your area of industry. And you can easily insert yourself into conversations in a very non-stalking way, but just very naturally by liking people's comment, starting to follow people that are talking about concepts that you have, making a list and going back and engaging with their content, because people notice and pay attention to those things. And then you may have another goal of saying, I'm going to blog once a month. So consistently doing social listening and having a goal to blog once a month or twice a month or once a week, but you need to pick something that you feel that you can stick with and do it well. So many people will make a huge deal of grow your list, have an email list, and they'll have an email list of either 5 or 5,000, and then they'll tell me that they send their email list an email once a quarter. Well, one, if they have 5,000 emails, I would highly recommend that they alter their strategy and make email marketing a #1 priority. But if you're emailing anybody once a quarter, 4 times a year, you are not doing anything really, in my opinion, to really grow some like, know, and trust with your audience. So look at these. Maybe think of some of the other things that you may be doing in addition to some of these ideas, and really pick 1 or 2 and really try to knock it out of the ballpark rather than trying to do too much or do too little. Okay, so I want to, so far it seemed like you guys had some feedback and wanting some information and feeling that this was helpful to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to definitely invite all of you to join the Sweet Tea Social Marketing Academy. I'm going to actually drop a link here in the comments in just a few minutes so you can have an opportunity to take the plunge to join Elizabethtown Family, wrong business. It's for you to join Sweet Tea Social Marketing Academy if it's a good fit for you. But first, what I want to do is kind of like look inside and tell you a little bit more about it. So here's the deal. I launched Sweet Tea Social Marketing Academy in October, and it still is in a beta form. And what that means is I am still constantly creating it. It is not the membership academy that right now has 500 videos to kind of give you that deer in the headlights look and to overwhelm you. What it is, though, it's a starting place to say, okay, you need help with social media. So I, as a business owner, I work one-on-one with a lot of clients, but a lot of my clients have really big budgets. So I have that strategy in my business for my higher end products. Well, everything in the Sweet Tea Social Marketing Academy is of the same level of caliber of what I offer my one-on-one clients that pay me $2,500 a month. The difference is it's in a group setting. So I'm going to tell you this, but let me just pull this up if you guys will bear with me. I'm going to pull this up. Okay. Let me go to the back end and show you kind of what it looks like on the back end. So I use a program called Teachable. So Teachable lives online, and it is accessible 24/7. And the whole gist of the Sweet Tea Social Marketing Academy, I am going to answer every question that you have before this is over, so don't think I'm going to not answer your questions. But just to show you, the back end starts with a Start Fresh section where I do a welcome video and a message from me, making sure everybody has access to our private Facebook group, and then everybody kind of does a quick introduction of themselves. Then we have our Getting Started section, knowing what you need to know first with some basic information. And then I have 3 main components. Now, I'll be honest, one of these components would be well worth the rate of what it is to be in this monthly membership. But I really like to over-deliver, give great value, and treat people the way that I would want to be treated. So I, as the small business owner, know what it's like. You do not always have the time to go and watch a 1-hour video to learn something. So one of the first things I have implemented is our bite-sized training videos. They're all normally within 7 to 10 minutes, and they're just short, quick, consumable things that are going to help you in your social media marketing efforts that you can watch in literally 7 minutes, and you can ultimately be able to put it into practice. Another section that we have is our live Q&A. Now, we did this differently for October and November, and that's basically, we do a Q&A. They're typically on Tuesdays at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. The time is negotiable, but for the members that are in the group, that seemed to be the time that worked the best for the majority of the people. But that is a live, basically mastermind, where you come onto the call and you get to ask any and every single personal question you have about your business. Now, of course, you have to take into consideration that other people in the group are there, but you are going to be able to get your answers from me as well as feedback from other people in the group and really have that almost hand-holding type experience of someone to be with you in your journey as you're just wanting to keep moving forward using social media in your business. Now, what we did in October and November is we actually recorded those calls, and I really started to think about it. And I realize not everybody is going to be able to attend live, but I really think that sometimes that could maybe be really something personal that someone doesn't maybe want to have recorded and have, as this group grows, you know, more and more people watching if they really weren't on the call live. So moving forward, the live Q&As will truly be that. They will be live Q&As that take place in this type of Zoom format, but it's not going to be recorded. And that's really just for the integrity of the business owners. And then we've got our live monthly training. And that's something basically that's really similar. Oops, I clicked a button. Sorry, hold on one second, guys. Totally sidetracked. Okay, sorry about that. I'm trying to click on the right little scroll down here. There it is. Monthly training. And that's going to be a 45 to 60-minute training, really similar to what we're doing right now. And it's going to be on a topic that our membership is asking for to help them get those solid things in place that they need. So just to give you an idea, in October, we did Facebook Everything in 60 minutes and really did a deep dive into various things that we need to all be doing on Facebook for any part that may be something that you're curious about, that you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of Facebook groups, or how do you effectively use Facebook groups to grow your business. And the one that we have for November is social media strategy, the what, the why, and the how. We also have an accountability section where you pretty much get to put in writing things that you want to be held accountable. And then we have a resources and downloadables section. And then we have expert interviews every month where we bring in someone that has expert in their industry. So for example, in the month of October, we had Roshonda Pratt, and she was talking to us about how to get media attention for our business and for our organizations. And let me real quickly here go to the preview page and kind of show you as you're going through it. This is kind of what it looks like. So if you were to start it, you just kind of, as you go through it and you watch it, this basically turns to a dark circle and it quickly shows you what you've seen and what you haven't seen. And as the content grows, it's going to, every month, the monthly training section is going to grow, the bite-sized training videos are going to grow, the Q&A is going to happen every single month, and the expert interviews are going to increase every month. And our resources and our downloadables are going to also improve and just keep getting bigger with more information for you. Now let me just show you this. This is like one of the resources that we've got inside of our academy. So this is the social media content calendar plan. So if you are one of those businesses that's like, what am I going to post? Like, what could I post about that would be relevant to my audience? We have got right here on one screen at least 25 ideas for you in the categories of value, promotion, inspiration, humor, others, and motivation to give you a go-to resource of having some content to be able to use in your business. Let me come up here and see if I can show you this. The videos, like this is just kind of like monthly trainings, Facebook, everything in 60 minutes. Sometimes I have some bullet points kind of highlighting what's going to be in the actual training. Kind of what I have here. I upload the entire presentation, and then I've got the video and the recording right here. So it's all there. It's easy to consume. I've taken courses myself that are inside of Teachable. So from the user perspective, they're super user friendly, and it's just something that I have found to be super, super helpful. Now, the one thing I want to share with you guys, and this is the link. I'm going to drop this link, copy that, come over here. And that link that I just showed you is the actual sales page to sign up for Sweet Tea Social Marketing. But what I want to show you is a special offer that I've got for anyone that is watching this to really be able to take advantage of. So if you are feeling overwhelmed, if you feel that you're struggling with the strategy, or you feel that you're not sure where to start, or you're frustrated, I can help you. And the social media, Sweet Tea Social Marketing Academy really is to help you get that success path, to help you get the goals for your business growth, to give you that community and the support that you need, and to really help you come alongside in that journey of getting your social media strategy plan in place. Now, the membership is currently $47 a month, and that is going to maintain the price going into the new year. It's not going to ever be this low again, but I've got a bonus for you. Anyone that by the end of this webinar that joins the Academy is going to get a free 45-minute consultation with me, which is valued at $150, where it's just you and me on a Skype, on a Zoom, or a phone call, whichever is most convenient, just talking with you and your business, your specific struggles, your pain points, and really kind of help you get a great jump start inside of the Sweet Tea Social Marketing Academy to get you moving forward. But that's not it. I'm really excited to let you know that I have 2 different promo offers. Now, if you enroll, I've got one for 12 off, which saves you $12 a month. So instead of paying $47, you would pay $35. Now, here's the cool thing. That's not just for the first month. You would be grandfathered in no matter what the price of our membership eventually goes up to. You would be grandfathered in at $35 a month to the Sweet Tea Social Marketing Academy. Now, in case you're asking what the 30 off is for, because everyone's like, of course I want to save $30, I have a VIP level, and you're going to see that VIP level option when you click on the link that I just posted in the chat box. And my VIP level includes everything that we just discussed, but it also includes a time where we are able to talk every single month in a one-to-one phone consultation on a one-on-one level. And so that membership price is normally, yes, son, I'm going to be done very soon, okay? My son is being very patient. The kids have no school tomorrow, and so I'm like, stay up as late as you want. That's fine. But anyway, so that VIP level of my academy is regularly $109. But if you want the VIP level, you can use the code 30OFF when you choose the VIP choice when checking out. And that would bring your monthly rate down to $79 a month, which is, again, going to include everything we've discussed today. And that's also going to include that one-on-one consultation every single month with me. So just to make sure that you guys know that this bonus of the 45-minute consultation with anybody that signs up is pretty much going to be anyone that signs up by the end of this call or this Zoom or this webinar, whatever we call this. But what I would like to do is open the floor to questions. So go ahead and you can unmute yourself if you have a question that you'd like to ask, and you are more than welcome to either ask your question, or if you want, you can type your question into the chat box and I can answer your question that way. And while you guys are doing that, and if you don't have any questions, that's fine. But if you do, feel free to go ahead and ask your question. And I would like to ask you guys for just a little bit of feedback. I like to always ask, and I always tell people I totally can handle constructive criticism, so I want you to be really honest. But I'm going to write this down on a piece of paper just for me to know. But on a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being like super helpful and 1 being not at all, how would you rate this webinar training regarding how it's maybe helped you in your business or your leadership for your organization? And you can just type that into the chat box. Okay, cool. Yeah, you guys are great. Totally, I'm just writing that down for myself to just be able to have be able to kind of have some extra data. Awesome. Well, guys, like I said, I really appreciate you being here. Felicia says 10, very good. Thank you. Best free webinar I've seen ever, to tell you the truth. Oh, great. I really appreciate that, Felicia. And again, my desire is to come alongside people that really want to have growth in their business. Because the one thing I don't want is people to just sign up for things. Have you ever just signed up for things? And I think we think sometimes through osmosis, it's going to just come into our being and we're just going to suddenly be great. And that's not what this is for. This is really for someone who is willing to show up. And I'll be honest, to give you a time frame, if you're willing to put 30 minutes a day, 4 days a week, into growing your business with social media, I can help you. But if you're yeah, I maybe have an hour a month, this isn't for you. Totally save your money, go to Outback Steakhouse and have a great steak instead of joining this membership. And I will tell you that I do have a 100% guaranteed satisfied policy. So within 30 days, if you don't feel that it's a good fit for you, no questions asked. Of course, I may just ask questions just to help me get better, but it's not any questions asked regarding you get the refund. It's a 100% refund if in any way you feel that it did not meet your expectations or it's honestly just not helpful to you in your business or in your organization. Alex says, clearly explained your tips and techniques. Thank you. And the Cluckleys says, you are very good at explaining the information. Awesome. And got some really great feedback there in the chat box, so really appreciate that from you guys. Thank you all again for taking the time to be here. I just dropped the link, and that link in the chat box goes to the sales page. And on the screen, let me just forward it down. It's bit.ly/Sweet Tea Social Marketing Academy. And that's the link that you can go to see the sales page. Those coupon codes, again, if you need those, are 12 off to save $12 off of our regular membership, which would be a $35 grandfathered rate into the Sweet Tea Social Marketing Academy. Is bit.ly important? Oh, I'll tell you that. And then 30 off, and I don't know if it's case sensitive, but I typed it in all caps. So you might want to do it in all caps if you're typing that in. And then if you choose the VIP option, you're going to get a one-on-one consult every month with me, just the two of us. And then that would be a rate of $79 and that's with your discount. Your question says, is bit.ly important? So let me tell you, this is kind of like a little bonus. Bear with me. I'm going to stop this. Let me go to a browser real quick. Okay, you should be able to see this. Bit.ly. There are others out there. This is just what I use. So if you go to bit.ly, I'll actually type it in. Bit.ly. It's going to bring you to this website, and it's automatically pulling into my account. But what it does is it allows you to take a really long URL. So for example, let me go over here to my email. Let me go to my website. And this is especially helpful if you spend a lot of time on Twitter, or if you're wanting to say names of things and make it easier for people to remember. So right now, here's one, how to get and use the new Twitter QR code. That's the newest blog post that I did, right? So I'm gonna come up here and copy that URL. I'm gonna go over here to Bitly. And I'm going to click on this box that says create Bitlink. I'm gonna type this crazy long URL, and then I'm gonna click the button down here that says create. And what it just did is it took that URL that was literally, I don't know, 4 inches long, a long URL, and it shortened it to this super teeny tiny code. And you can copy the one they made, or for branding purposes, let's say, I'm gonna pick something I don't wanna ever really use, but let's just say we typed in Mountaintop 2016, and you click the button down here that says save. Okay, that's not been used before, I'm so surprised, but that's a URL that if you go into a new browser, and let's say I was posting on Twitter, which I don't want to because I don't want somebody to see Mountaintop and think I'm kind of weird, but if you just take that shortened Bitly link and hit enter, it takes a second, and it's gonna actually pull up my website, that exact same code, the same page that I had originally put in there, but it made the code much shorter. And another tip for you, if you do use the bit.ly, it is case sensitive. So if you were maybe doing a custom URL and you wanted to be able to say it on Facebook Lives, or you wanted to talk about it and verbally say it, and let's say you chose, marriage retreat 2016, I would either say have it all be lowercase or be all uppercase, just to make it work, because if you said marriage retreat all lowercase and they type in a capital letter, it's not gonna work. The Cleckly says, okay, cool, you get it, see people really like it or think it's spam. That is exactly what I was going to use it for. Yeah, absolutely. I think it depends on your circles. I would say it's become much more common that a lot of people don't think it's spam, but you could certainly test it out with your group and see if that made a difference, if that impacted any of the things that you were working on. Well, everybody, thank you so much for being here with me live. Are there any last questions before we end? Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for your time. I am going to probably send a follow-up email here out in the next few minutes. And if you're thinking about that, if you're praying about the opportunity to join the membership, again, I encourage you to feel free to go ahead. I will make sure that if anyone basically signs on before they go to bed, basically when I wake up at 6 a.m., if someone has signed up between now and when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to honor that bonus of the 45-minute free consultation. So you guys have a great night. Thank you, Felicia. I really appreciate it. Oh, Felicia, wonderful. So here's the funny thing. I want to go real quick before I end this broadcast, and I want to see if my email, not saying I don't believe you, I believe you. I'm going to see how fast it is on the back end and see if it tells me if you signed up. It does. It says Felicia Hunt just joined. Well, yay for Felicia. Felicia, I'm excited. You are going to get a 45-minute consultation with me, and you are going to love it. So I'm really excited. Glad to have you. And for anyone else, glad you guys were here. Think about it, and if you want to join, feel free to click on the link, and I'll shoot you guys an email here in the next 5 minutes or so, and I will include that link, and I will include those discount codes for you as well. All right, everybody, God bless, and have a great, happy Thanksgiving. See you later. Bye, guys.